Well, here we are. First of all,
Screen's sitting there.
I was looking at you. I know the camera is right there. By the way, great view, huh? Isn't this awesome?
It is. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So,
Clearwater Beach, Florida, right?
So for those of you who were expecting me in my bikini and are totally disappointed, that's what we call in the marketing business a teaser. And we weren't lying about the bikini thing. It was all about the bikini body.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It never did say.
It's in there. It's in there somewhere.
It never did say I was going to wear a bikini. Anyway, we're here in Clearwater Beach, Florida. Wendy and I have just attended the Collective Genius Mastermind that we always talk about, that we're so proud to be a member of. And it was, blown out of the park this time as well. This time it was a little bit different. It was a hybrid. So we had about half the membership virtually, and then the rest of us are here at this beautiful resort. And when this is over, we're all going to be going down to the beach and having cocktails.
Except for me, I have to catch an airplane and get back because somebody has to work. Jonathan's up there holding down the fort in the 68-degree weather, which is what he just told us he's in right now. Poor Jonathan, I feel bad for you, dude.
I don't feel too bad. It's not too bad here. A little bit of rain, but I think you all are experiencing the same thing. I feel like we're
nice.
like weather forecasters here, like we're reporting on the weather. You all, the palm trees are blowing down there, and
that's right. That's right. That nice cozy fire in the background.
Let me give you the weather report.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
So we wanted to do this live at the event because, excuse me,
he's on the Clemson.
we are surrounded by really smart investors.
A collection of geniuses.
And because none of us are geniuses by ourselves. You must be part of a collective.
That's right. That's right. So really while we're down here is we came down to come to our mastermind of Collective Genius, which is the top 5% of real estate investors across the country. And for some reason, they let us in. We've been a member of this group for over 10 years, like really when they first started. And we feel so blessed that they let us in the room and that we get to just, iron sharpens iron. And that's what we do when we get together. And we have not been able to have a meeting in the past 2 quarters. So we got together this quarter, and, the virtual thing is fun, but there's nothing like being live in front of each other. But yesterday we had our hot seats going on, and there were 2 new groups that got up that were under the age of 26, which really makes me sick. Some of them were 23. And they are just blowing it out of the water with the stuff that they're doing. It's amazing. Selling land online, allowing people to make payments with a credit card and make payments every month on a credit card. And they are knocking it out of the park. It's amazing what some of these people are doing. And we just get an opportunity to pick out all the goodies that everybody's doing and try to take it home and change everything as soon as we get back.
And keep in mind, too, banks hate land. They hate raw land. And I get that. It's the hardest to sell typically. But let's think about it. God
created.
He only makes so much land.
That's right.
And while he continues to make land, it's going to be a long time before it's occupiable.
It'll be hot. Lava running everywhere. It can get tough. Another thing that's really cool about being able to come to this meeting is we get to sit in front of some pretty incredible keynote speakers that are just unbelievable folks. Extreme Ownership, the author, Jocko Willink. It is just amazing what we were able to learn from him. And then in addition to that, we spoke yesterday to Chris Voss, who is Never Split the Difference. I mean, these are just, incredible people that we get to learn from. And we did role playing and all kinds of neat stuff that we got to learn from them. So that's one thing.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Jocko, he's a retired Naval SEAL. He was not just a Navy SEAL, he was highly decorated. He was actually the trainer for the West Coast Navy SEAL. So all the commanders, all the leaders that would come in, he was their trainer. And then Voss is a retired FBI negotiator. And this is all about teaching you your negotiation skills and understanding human behavior and how to always be calm
and label what they're saying.
Basically steer the conversation the way you want it steered.
Yeah, it was just all so good. It's funny.
Something I'm not really familiar with is silence.
One of the things he talked about that I thought was so good is he said, you need to just stop talking. It's okay to have silence. And you don't have to talk just to fill the time. So Jonathan and I tease Bill a lot that he tends to do that.
But
my best negotiations are when you leave space for the other person to question. And that's the best thing you can do is let them question themselves. Don't question them. Leave the empty space for them to do that.
That's exactly right. And he talked about that yesterday. I can't wait to share with you even more about what he said too, Jonathan. You're really, really going to love it.
Yeah, ready to learn more.
And we would have had Jonathan with us, but he went and had a baby a few weeks ago, so he's a little busy.
He didn't. It's his wife's fault.
Actually, it's Jonathan's fault to begin with, but that's all right.
we all played a role.
That's right. The other thing that I think is really cool too about being here in this group of collective geniuses that we get to meet with is they are located across the country, and it gives us an opportunity to see what's happening in every market across the country, not only in lending, but in fix and flip, in commercial, in all kinds of single family. And it's just so neat to see what's doing well, what's not doing well, because, things tend to come to the Carolinas a little bit later than it does in California. So we get to see the ripple effect, what's happening in Las Vegas and California. We think, it's coming this way too. So we can get better prepared for what's coming down the pike. Plus, we get to do business with these folks that we know, like, and trust. It's just, and anytime something is questionable, what should we do? We have got a plethora, big word, I need points for that one, Jonathan, of people that we can go to for advice. There's somebody in this room that's been through it, right?
Yep.
Well, and then I'm sorry, the other side of it is, we're one of the few lenders in that room, and we get to sit in the room with the best borrowers across the nation and see what they need and what they're looking for, which helps us be a better lender to our borrowers because we're learning from the best borrowers.
That's exactly right. And well said. That's a great point. Okay.
All right, before we introduce our first guest, I need to make sure, and by the way, if I have more of a glazed look in my eye than I normally do, it's because for some reason, Wendy's headset over here is echoing in my ears.
You just get all of me over and over again.
So, by the way, we do make loans. So our website is carolinahardmoney.com. If you're a borrower and you're interested in getting a loan, click on the borrower tab. If you're an investor and you're looking for passive returns, and what I mean by an investor, someone who would like to invest in our fund, click on the investor tab.
And passive means passive.
That's right. We'll get into that later. So don't forget to share, subscribe, like. If you have any questions for our guests, we have a chat box on the side. Feel free to use it. And so without further ado, we're part of Collective Genius is the charity work that they do that we're so proud of being a part of. Yeah. And it's called Generous Genius. We have Brett Snodgrass on. He's taken a big active role in that. We were supposed to have Dave Perriton come in and talk to him. Oh, there he is. But Dave typically always comes in at the last second. Guys.
Awesome job, Dave. Awesome job.
Love you. Your flag isn't any bigger than it was last night. Excuse me. Dave last night unveiled his future new larger flag. He just hadn't been able to put it on the wall yet.
Right here, everybody. Right. We wave them proudly over here.
Love it.
Awesome. I love it.
So, all right, who would like to go first? I want to talk about Generous Genius and all the different charities that we support. And you know what, Brett, since you're getting an active role in here, I'm going to let you go first.
No, well, thanks, Bill and Wendy and Jonathan. Appreciate you guys having. And I just actually got back from Collective Genius this morning. My plane left at 6 a.m.
Ouch.
So I got back to Indiana, Midwest here, and just excited. Yeah, awesome event with the Collective Genius. Got so much wisdom and nuggets out of it. So I appreciate just all the knowledge. But the Generous Genius, I'm honestly, Dave, he's been kind of the face behind the Generous Genius for the past couple of years, and I've just been kind of having some conversations with him in the background, and with him, and I'd say, Dave, and talk to Jason Medley, who runs Collective Genius, and I said, I'd like to make more of a difference in people's lives, and I'd like to be more involved, because that's really what makes me come alive. Making money and success in business, I love doing that. I love creating and I love building things. But really, when it comes down to it, I really, if I can just positively impact someone's life the way we've been able to do with Generous Genius, I just want to really be a part of that. And some of the things that I've been a part of and I've seen is, we've been able to put a lot of missions trips together. We've built homes in Mexico. I know there's at least, 2 times a year, there's a group of the Collective Genius that goes down. We build homes for a deserving family in Mexico, and that's one thing that we do. Last year, I got a chance to go on a missions trip, and this was really cool. It's to Guatemala, and we stayed in an orphanage over there, and we built a home as well, and we got to feed children in the extreme impoverished part of Guatemala, and I've been able to link up with that charity organization and try to help them as well. I'm getting ready to go to Guatemala here again in 2 weeks, so I've been coming more involved with that organization, and I think it just, and Dave can tell you about his organization that he's a part of, about helping families pay their medical bills that the insurance companies won't cover, and I'll let him kind of talk about that because he's a big part of that. But I just, as entrepreneurs, I think that I heard this one time, that if we have the ability, we have the responsibility to make a difference and to help. And I think as an entrepreneur, I've learned so many skills about building business, about creating something, about thinking logically and putting the puzzle together, right, in business. And you can relate that to a lot of different things. And there's a lot of amazing organizations out there that have amazing hearts. They want to do so good. They want to make a difference, but sometimes they lack the resources, money, or they lack the knowledge and the wisdom of putting the puzzle together. And I think as entrepreneurs, if we can just get behind that, I think that we can do amazing things. And I think that's what the Generous Genius does. And I think this is just the beginning. So we're like at base camp, and I think we're going to do some amazing things for the world here. And so can't wait.
Amen. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Dave, you take it.
Hey guys, thank you, Wendy. And I just brought Brett along here, asked him to join, so thanks for making it, Brett, as well. And I wasn't able to make it to the Collective Genius live, but I was there virtually, and it has been a busy little run here. But I've been talking to Brett quite a bit offline, and really I got involved with the Generous Genius because there are a lot of organizations out there who, they take your money and they'll take a check and stuff like that. But I just kind of wanted to add a little accountability and kind of keep it in the family, as far as like make sure that organizations that we're getting behind are doing the right thing with the money. And that's really where it all came from. And, I still very much am in the real estate business. We are rocking and rolling on that front. And Brett approached me, and I got the opportunity to go down to Guatemala with Brad and another group of us, CGers, and we were exposed to a really, really solid foundation. It's called Forever Changed International. And actually, the people who run it, we met from another mastermind group that Wendy and Bill and myself are a part of. And I'm wearing the shirt here, Freedom Founders. Freedom, if you can see it live. But if you, Cinda Rocker and Jim Rocker are phenomenal members of Freedom Founders, and they're people that I personally do business with. I've traveled with them, and they run the foundation, the orphanage down in Guatemala. And then, Brett and I were there together. Brett stepped up, and people brought their kids, and it was a tremendous experience. And then since then, I just, have my head down and still rocking and rolling in real estate. And Brett approached me, and he's like, I want to take a more active role. I want to start maybe running some trips down there. He's still in communication with Jim and Cinda. And I said, Brett, absolutely, I will get behind this thing, because you need energy, and basically, I think, Brett's been praying about this a long time, and Brett actually stepped up when we were in Guatemala, and he led some great prayer services, and we prayed together. And I just feel like Brett is going to really, take his life in a whole new direction. And if I can help that, I'm definitely behind that. And I'm excited. So I think what's coming here, guys, a little sneak peek preview. I think Mr. Snodgrass is probably going to be running some trips down to Guatemala here. And you guys are going to get the opportunity to experience what we have already experienced. And it is life-changing. Not only the kids that you're helping out, and Bill, I think we talked about this offline, the perspective that you get. I mean, you see an American flag behind me, and I love my country. And I love my country even more when I come back from extreme poverty. I see exactly how people live in other parts of the world, and just realize how good we got it. And I really like what you said there as well, Brett. I mean, as entrepreneurs, as difference makers, as people who have taken responsibility for their life and their business, and who are getting out there and getting after it, it is our responsibility to help those below us and keep learning from those above us. And that's what we're here to do. So I'm just extremely grateful to be here. Wendy and Bill, you guys are good friends of mine, and super stoked to have the opportunity to be on your live stream today.
That's awesome. There's a trip coming up, I think, real shortly here. Is it in November that they're going down, Brett?
We're actually leaving October the 2nd, so it's coming up real soon.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
So when you're talking about this, you don't have to be a member of Collective Genius to join up and go down on any one of these trips. Isn't that correct? Is there a URL they can hook up with?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's interested, I can link you up with Jim and Cinda, who run the organization, and they're looking for people to experience this. I mean, their organization is very young. It's just like any business. It's like a young business, and they're looking for people to get involved, and for ideas and for resources as well. And they want people just to experience it. I think it's one thing to write a check and to raise money at an event and see a picture of what's going on down there. But it's another thing to experience it, to bring yourself there, to bring the emotion there, to see really what's going on. And I think that when you experience that, you come back, and like Dave said, forever changed. It's like, when I came back, it's just like, I want to do something. And I know, you can do something. You can do something small, and maybe you can't change everybody's life, but maybe you can change one family's life.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
And if we all do that together, and it takes all of us, right? And there's so much need, and I think that's the biggest thing I get excited about, is because there's unlimited opportunity. It's like there's no we're all in this together, to help people and to make a difference in their lives. And what more of a difference you can make by saving someone's life, literally saving someone's life. It's just amazing. So
that's exactly right. And what I think is really cool, I want to just bring up something that Dave said too, is that he kept his head down, still doing real estate, but he is doing what he can to help someone else and change the world. And I think as entrepreneurs, we're always concerned about, we eat what we kill. So, you got to work to have money come in. But one of the things that I've found in our company, because we are really, really focused on doing the Lord's work and making sure that everything we do, that we're following in the path that He has us on. And one of the things that we've found is that He's capable of taking care of our business. In fact, He does way better at it than we do. And if we really focus in anything that we do in our lives, if we really focus on others and helping them, our own personal stuff kind of takes care of itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. For sure.
If I may jump in, one thing, then you guys hear it all the time. And Bill, I know, and Wendy, I think did you go to Mexico as well with Scott Myers?
I didn't go to Mexico. I go to Africa on my trips. But
Bill went. I know you guys are out moving in. You guys can vouch for this. A big thing is a lot of people say, I would love to do something like that, but there's this inner fear. They say, I don't know, is it safe? And I would just want to debunk immediately, especially and Brett could speak on our Guatemala experience. It is incredibly safe. In fact, I ate better in Guatemala than I do at home here. I wanted to stay. I slept better. I ate better. It is clean. We're not getting eaten up by bugs. We're eating very good food. And it's safe. I mean, we have we're in a gated community, as a matter of fact. I mean, Brett, you remember it. So I just want to debunk this, and if anyone's interested, definitely, in fact, reach out to Brett. But it is completely safe, and you're really making a big difference. It's going to give you a whole new perspective. But yeah, the whole fear, I think a lot of that's the media. They say, oh, you never leave. They're just trying to trap you. It is very safe. You're welcomed with open arms, guys. And it is an extremely safe experience.
Talk about the length of the trip.
I'm sorry, hang on. I found in Mexico specifically that the vast majority of the people with machine guns work for the government, so it was okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, that's not helping. Talk about the length of the trip. How long people can expect to be gone. Because a lot of people are saying, well, I can't take 2 weeks off or even a whole week off. So talk a little bit about that.
Take it away, Brett.
Yeah, well, I know they're doing a couple of different options to Guatemala. So this next trip, the one that's coming up October the 2nd, which if anyone's interested, they are there's I think maybe 3 or 4 spots open. So I know it's pretty short notice, but if anyone's interested, there's 3 spots open, and this is a very short trip. It's actually called a field trip. And it's more of learning and experiencing, and you're going to be serving too. But it's more of a kind of a learning trip. So it's a 4-day trip. And so they're going to be doing some of those field trips down there, 4 days. It's like a Thursday through Sunday or Friday through, Tuesday, something like that, or Monday. So a 4-day trip, field trip, and you learn. So you go see some of the things they're doing and just kind of learning about it. And I think sometimes as Americans, we go over to these other countries on these missions trips, and we're like set to the agenda. We got to get something done. We got to build this house in a week, and we got to go. And it's just super busy, and you're just pedal to the metal the entire time, and you don't really get to experience what is really going on because you're so entrenched on getting the project done, because that's what we do in America, right? But actually, if you go to these other countries, a lot of them, they want you to help, but a lot of them are a little bit different. They actually want you to get to know them. They want you to get to know their culture and what they do, and they want to befriend you. That's why you go to Mexico, and the aunt comes over, and the guy's late because his aunt came over and he talked to her for 4 hours, right? And that's what happens in other cultures. So a lot of times, so that's kind of what these little field trips are. It's getting to know what they're doing, learning about them, learning about the culture, and then, experiencing that. But then they're also going to do some different mission trips, which are about a week long. And then that is more of visiting the orphanage, building a home. But I would say if you're interested at all, try one of these field trips like we're doing in October.
Agreed.
Yeah, the same thing happens with the Mexico trips. We typically fly into San Diego on a Friday. We get on a bus and we go down to Ensenada, Mexico. We're typically staying at a pretty nice hotel. get settled in, have a little dinner. Next morning, we go over to the base camp. We get our orientation. We build most of the house, and then come back on Sunday and finish it up. And I'm telling you, those are what gets to me is you've got people that are really impoverished, and yet all the kids, they have no idea they're impoverished. They have big smiles on their face. They're playing just like any other kids would, right?
Yep, they're loving on you.
And as much as we want to help others, and you're thinking about this, well, here's one perspective for me. When I got back, obviously, it changed me completely, because now my little itsy bitsy problems are first world problems. They don't mean a hill of beans. It has nothing to do with whether I'm going to survive the day or not. But we also have a need for charity in our own country. So, and I don't want to gloss over that either. So, Dave, can you bring up a little bit about what the group is doing internally here in the U.S. as well?
It's like he wants to play a video.
Yes. Were you going to play a video? Is that what I'm not sure who's in control there. It's not me.
Well, it's not me either. It just came on its own.
Yeah, that's Scott Patton, our guy who does everything.
Very nice. Very nice. The man behind the curtain, picks like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
And he's just pulling up the website. I don't think there's a video coming. So
there's a lot of, well, here's the deal, guys. I mean, can we all agree that the whole medical system in the U.S. is, for lack of a better term, a crock of shit? Are we okay saying that in the life? It really is. And there's a lot of families out there in need. And you know what? Lindsay, my better half, she co-founded and operates the Lenn Foundation. It's LENN, the Lenn Foundation. And I'll just give you a little example here. If you can see, these are some of the kids that, we've helped.
Awesome.
These are kids are born with cerebral palsy. Some are born with cerebral palsy, and they have a tough time. And these are just regular, good old-fashioned American families who work their job, and they are expecting a child. And guess what? The child is born with cerebral palsy. It is what it is, and God works in mysterious ways. And a lot of these families, their insurance is not covering even the basic needs to improve and kind of help these children live a normal life, like walking and talking. And, this is like stuff that's extremely important just to kind of help this child develop. And the insurance companies don't pay for it. So the Lenn Foundation is a foundation that raises money for these families. These are all families right here in the US of A. And it's basically just helping out families where the insurance companies stop. That's where they start, and I think it's a very valid cause. And but yeah, I mean, I've got the opportunity just through Lindsay to meet a lot of these families, and I mean, their stories are incredible. Nobody asks for that kind of thing. And as far as, it's always a blessing in disguise, but sometimes it's extremely difficult for these families, and the Lenn Foundation just kind of softens that blow financially where the insurance companies are not helping out.
Excellent. So I'm going to do a little speed round here. We are talking about charity, but charity begins at home. So Brett, come on up here on the screen if you don't mind, Scott, unless he's getting his lunch and he's not listening. So Brett, really quickly talk about your what it is you do and how people can get in touch with you about your business. You are in the real estate business.
Yes, I am. So our company is called Simple Wholesaling. We're more of a wholesaling company, and we do some owner seller financing as well. And we're out of Indianapolis, Indiana. So our website's simplewholesaling.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. I think is probably the easiest way. It's Brett Snodgrass. Just look me up on Facebook. You don't get that name a lot, Snodgrass. It's kind of weird and unique. So Brett Snodgrass. And then, so we do I've been doing real estate for 13 years, and we do about 250 to 300 houses a year. So we have a really solid business here in Indianapolis. And I have a great team. And recently I promoted Brian Snyder, who's CEO now of our company. So for the last 3.5 months, I've been kind of in the owner's box. I own the company, but I haven't been directly involved. So you guys talk about freedom founders. And so I'm getting a taste of that right now, which is awesome. And that's kind of what led me to reaching out to Dave and say, hey, Dave, I have freedom, but I still want to make a difference. And that's kind of, I guess I was uncomfortable by being so comfortable, I guess.
Well, that definitely makes sense. So people can reach out to you those ways as well to get involved in the Guatemala trip and other charities you're involved in.
Exactly.
Excellent. Dave, same thing with you, bud. I know you got a real estate business. You're in I'm going to call it the great state of Columbus.
I am. I'm a real estate investor, own a real estate company, just like Brett. There's 12 of us total. I have a business partner, RJ Pepino, and we specialize in the affordable housing business. So we target properties that have good rent to value ratios. We have a portfolio north of 100 rentals, and we target price points really about between 100 and 225. And we buy houses, we renovate them, we rent them out, and then we'll either, refinance or we'll, keep the private money in place. We work with lenders like you guys, and we work with a lot of private lenders. But yeah, we're just in the boring, affordable housing business, a lot of single family rentals. Hey, but boring is the new sexy is what I've been telling you.
That's right.
Keep it safe, everybody. And I'm really happy with what we've been able to accomplish. We also wholesale quite a bit. We've sold a ton of turnkey properties in our career, and really we've gotten away from that and just kind of hanging on to as much as we possibly can, wholesaling the rest. And you can find me on Facebook as well. I think my name is on the screen, Dave Payerchin. And we are going to be kind of putting ourselves out there. We created a brand, and our brand is the Cream, and the Cream stands for Cash Flow, Real Estate, and Money. And we will be launching a site here soon, so put it on your back burner for now until it's launched. But our website will be risewiththecream.com.
Awesome. I love it. When that takes place, we'll have to have you on again. So
I would love that.
How you work that out and see how that goes. That's pretty awesome. Another thing that I think is important for us to mention, we're talking about generous genius. This group, Collective Genius, has been such a blessing for us to be a part of. And I know you guys feel the same way. And who it's connected with us in other respects is also just amazing. That, Freedom Founders, being able to get into other incredible masterminds and rub shoulders with people that are so much smarter than us has been awesome. But I mean, just a great example of who comes to these meetings. We have the new guy, Josh Culler, who was introduced yesterday, and we talked about, what is your why? And his why is to fund 100 missionaries. That's his why. It wasn't something personal. There's a lot of people in our group that feel that way and really just want to give back. Isn't that amazing that we're exposed to that kind of stuff on a regular basis?
We are, and you know what? It starts at the top, if I may say. It all starts at the top, and somebody who deserves a big high five and a lot of recognition is Mr. Jason Medley.
Amen. That's right.
He's the one who brought us together. In fact, Freedom Founders was not an existing mastermind until Mr. David Phelps, founder of Freedom Founders, was a member of the Collective Genius. It really starts there, and that's why it's the best. So I just want to give a big shout out to Jason Medley. Hopefully he gets the opportunity to see this. You guys knocked it out of the park with this last event. And the caliber of people like Josh Culler. And I got Josh Culler coming out to Columbus on the 24th to kind of help us with this Cream launch and content. And, it's just every single meeting, there's new people coming in. The caliber, the bar is raised so high. It makes us all better. I think, wouldn't you guys agree? You see these young bucks coming in. It's like, okay, we are on the cutting edge. And I'm just super grateful for Jason Medley and for the Collective Genius.
Me too. I agree 100%. I remember the first meeting I came to, it was about 10 and a half years ago. Collective Genius was really new. I think it might have been their second meeting. I was with Larry Goins, and we had a really great sales floor. We were buying and selling property like crazy and thought we were the bomb. And we sat down in this room with, I don't know, at that time there were probably 20 other businesses that were in there. And we're listening to them talk, and Larry leans over to me and goes, I'm feeling pretty stupid about now. How about you? I said, yep. It's just amazing the caliber of people that we just get to share life with. It's really, really cool. And you too absolutely fall into that category. Thank you so much for being on here and sharing your story with us and just being so willing to give back. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, apparently Wendy didn't listen to Boss about the silence thing either. Sometimes it's good to be quiet.
Yeah, that training's not going to work for me. Anyone who knows me, I'm like, RJ, hopefully you're taking notes here because I don't know how I'm going to scale back.
Another thing you talked about was being assertive and how your tone, it doesn't matter what words you say, but the tone that you use makes all the difference. And that's my issue is my tone. I try to use nice words, but my tone is like, let's get it done. I'm ready to go. I need to work on that.
We did our team call today, and I tried to practice some of what we learned. So I slowed things down. And then somebody said to me, "Is like, Dave, I think something's wrong with your audio. We're not used to it. You're all slow." They're like, "Are you on mute?" No, I'm listening. They're like, "We're not used to this. Bring back the old Dave."
Yeah. Are you on something, Dave?
How come you're in slow motion? Those pills finally kick in.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. As a matter of fact, I got Leon coming up here in a few minutes. Of course, like everyone else, he's late. I don't say that everyone else because Brett was here early.
I was too. Instead, I was backstage, Bill.
Oh, he was in the green room. Yeah, he was in the green room.
He's busy picking out the green M&Ms.
I was in the green room, okay? I was enjoying the hors d'oeuvres and really getting ready for this show here.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll hopefully Brett, we'll get to see you soon. I know Dave. We're all on the Freedom Founders stream or
so we'll see you tonight.
Yeah, the Zoom rooms. So we'll see you for the next 3 days.
Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Hey, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
Do me a favor and tell people how they can get a hold of us and what we do and all that good stuff. And I'm going to have to step away and go look for my next guest.
I will try to fill your shoes.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. This is Carolina Capital. You can reach us at carolinahardmoney.com. You can go to the investor if you want to be a passive investor in the fund, or you can go to the borrower tab if you want to borrow money. Both are investors, but one is a passive investor, one is an active. And please share this, like us, tell us what you want us to talk about. Tell all your friends about us. We'd love to interact with you guys. You can send us your comments. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Well, I didn't go away completely, by the way.
Oh, you're still there, Bill.
Wendy went looking. I do have to adjust my little camera angle here, though.
Okay.
I love live. The wind's blowing so hard it actually pushed my camera over a little bit.
Oh, wow.
I tell you, if you're looking out here and looking at the wind blowing, when we got here and we were still kind of really close to the hurricane, the wind was hardly blowing at all. It was like glass out here. And as soon as the hurricane went away, that's when all the wind and the waves started picking up. So one of the things I want to share about Jocko Willink's presentation that he did, and I can't go into all the details, but the book that he is famous for is the Extreme Ownership. So the Extreme Ownership book is just what it says. You have to take ownership of everything that you do. If something isn't accomplished, it's your fault, no matter if you're delegating it to someone else or not. It looks like my camera angle has changed, so I'm going to go over here. Nope, that doesn't work either. Because now you can't. There we go. Thank you, Scott.
It sounds like that's kind of like a trait that like some people are born with, and then some other people I think would struggle with that.
Well, here's the main nugget I got out of this, and this is the main nugget I got out of the book as well, was that when you have a team around you and you're delegating all these responsibilities, the most important thing you can do is make sure that those team members know the entire plan. They don't have to know all the details, but they need to know the why and what the goal is. Because a lot of managers struggle with, I can't get these people to make decisions on their own. They're constantly having to come to me when something doesn't go right or it doesn't go according to plan. They have to come to me with questions. Mm-hmm. Well, if they don't know what the goal is and they don't know what the why is, how are they empowered to make a decision, right? So if they have that goal and they have that why, that goal is in place, then they're easily going to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah. So often people try to run their business like it's the Manhattan Project. Like,
yay!
We got Leon there.
I'm saying yay because Leon was found. He was too busy down there at the beach, drinking cocktails.
I have not had a cocktail yet, Bill.
All right.
It is still early. I have had plenty of water and lunch, and so I'm geared up now.
Excellent. By the way, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry I'm running late and out of breath.
That's okay. We are on the second floor. Did you take the elevator or the stairs?
Yes. Wendy got me right in the elevator quickly. I felt like I was doing a television production. She was like, you're late. You got to be on camera. Let's go.
So, by the way, Leon Barnes, Collective Genius. He's not just he doesn't just work for Collective Genius you're a member relations. Is that your title?
Yeah, the title is Director of Member Results. So Director of Membership. Make sure that members of the Collective Genius get everything that they signed up for.
I can tell you from experience that Leon is one of the best connectors that I have met. If you have a problem or a need, you go to Leon. He's going to hook you up with the person you need to talk to within this group. Now, we just had Dave Perchin and Brett Snodgrass on talking about Generous Genius.
Yes.
For the first 30 minutes of this show. Because it's really important that we understand that it's not just about making money, it's about giving back. But let's talk about Collective Genius right now.
Yeah, thank you.
But before I get into that, this man just moved his family from Kansas.
That's right.
To Tampa.
That's right.
Where I guess he likes the humidity. He doesn't mind the wind because he's already from Kansas. Right. It's windy there anyway, but at least the wind is a lot warmer, right?
Yeah, it's a lot warmer in December, January, February. There are a lot of similarities. The ocean, obviously, is not one of them. But we do have a lot of lightning in Kansas, and this is the lightning capital of the U.S. We have a lot of wind, so there's a lot of similarities, minus the ocean and the warm weather.
And the hurricanes.
Yes, well, we get tornadoes, so it's a wash, right?
Your tornadoes are a lot bigger than the ones you get here, that's for sure.
Yes.
So you got settled in okay?
Yeah, we've been here for going on 2 months. My son, I have 2 sons, 8 and 3-year-old, so I've moved with 2 kids. I've moved across the country several times, but never with kids, and so that made it a challenge. Finding schools for the oldest and transitioning that way has been the most difficult part. Obviously, during the pandemic doesn't help it either, but Kids are resilient, and I was told that by a very wise man, and I wouldn't have made the move if I didn't think it was going to be the best for their long term, not just for us as a family. It was most important for my kids that this was the right move for them. I just was telling someone down at the bar that I wasn't drinking at that they will high five me in a couple of years. Yeah, thank you so much for moving us from Kansas to Florida, especially in January and December.
I have to agree. It's not much of a secret, but I would love to spend those 3 months in Southwest Florida.
Yes.
So I have been actively looking for a place on a canal so I can go fishing when I want. It has been on my radar for a while. And here's one of the things that you always fail to do when you're on live camera is turn your stupid phone off. My apologies. So I know you've done your own real estate investing prior to getting involved in Collective Genius. You want to talk to me about it?
Sure. So I joined as a member first in 2015. Wendy was a member at that time. I remember Wendy was one of the first members that I reached out to that helped me. We were looking to set up a fund. We did about 50, then 60, then 70, then it got it all the way up to 80 flips a year for the company that I was working for at that given time. I was the COO of that company and learned a lot, had a lot of fun there, built a great team. And then looked at, could I do this on my own in the future? And did I want to work for someone else? I think a lot of people go through that in the investing world. Is just, I want to be my own boss. But I think you said something earlier that drew me to this in this role. And I am still an active investor. We'll do 25 to 30 deals this year and continuing to grow in the year and a half that we've started back doing it. But I always tell Jason, I'm so appreciative of this opportunity because I feel like I've found what I'm supposed to do. And this is my calling. And I really, truly feel like that. And it's one of the reasons we made this move, not just because it's beautiful Florida, but because I feel like on a daily basis, I'm able to help our membership base better because I'm sitting next to Jason on a daily basis versus a Zoom call that we might do once a day.
Sure.
And so that was a strategic move behind it of why we wanted to come here. And I will say that being a flipper or an investor, this group is the best community I've ever been a part of. And that comes from also my 11 years in corporate America prior to this as a regional sales manager. I didn't have this type of community. We had a corporate community, but it was never like a giving community like this. You talked about Generous Genius. Beyond Generous Genius, just what people are willing to help. Like Wendy didn't know me from Adam. We had never met before. Called her to talk about a fund after my first meeting because I was told you need to talk to Wendy. And she took an hour, didn't know me from Adam. And that's the type of community that we have here.
Well, you talk about the corporate culture. It is completely different. Corporate culture is all about how you get ahead, not helping others raise their game. And then when you help others raise their game, guess what? Your game gets raised as well because it's all reciprocal. And part of the traps that we fall into, and this is good because you guys help keep us focused as well, is that when we get here, we hear all these great ideas and we want to go and implement all of them. And I remember being in the office with Wendy and Larry Goins. And every time they came back from CG, they'd say, all right, we're changing everything. We're now going to do it this way. and I would just shake my head, understanding that you need to focus in on one thing, get good at that, and then just start adding things that make sense for your business.
That's so spot on, Bill. I always have a follow-up call with our new members. We call it an onboarding call, and it's really to give all the resources. But in addition to that, to always leave that call with, do not try to do too much. We're drinking from a fire hydrant over there. Now fill a glass of water and take that glass and then move on to the next one. Because if we see people fail within this community, It's two reasons. Number one, they haven't engaged people like yourself or Wendy or the two gentlemen that you talked about before, Brett Snodgrass and Dave Perichin. These are great examples of people that are willing to always help you. If you engage them, they will help you. And the second part is try to do laser focus on one per quarter.
Yep.
Because if you just do that, you will grow your business instead of stunt your growth because you're trying to do too many things. Because they're all great ideas. They're all shiny objects. But there's the one for you that makes the most sense that you need to implement right away.
Yeah, and anytime you take on a large task, it's that saying about how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time.
That's right. That's right.
That's the only way you're going to be able to accomplish that. And if you're trying to do too many things at once, you'll never be good at any of them. And that's always been a problem. So how do you think the hybrid meeting went? Because this is the first time we did hybrid. We usually either all met together or we were all virtual.
Right.
Now, I know there was a couple of hiccups at the beginning, but it seemed like it turned out pretty well.
We call those hiccups lessons that we learn from. So I have a broadcast journalism background. I was in radio and television in college and right thereafter, and it reminded me of a live sporting event. We had the live event going on while trying to bring and incorporate the virtual world, which is the audience, and make sure that they feel like they're interactive with that. And the technology was there. We had to tweak it to make sure that we got it right. So I will tell you, traditionally, just to give you some more background, we traditionally meet for 5 days as a leadership team at our quarterly meetings. Each group comes in for 3 days, but we're there for the entire 5 days. And we're, as you can imagine, typically pretty exhausted at the end of those 5 days. I can tell you this morning was a struggle getting up because we had 2 days versus the typical 5. But what we crammed in from 12 to 6, Tuesday and Wednesday, it felt like it was 2 weeks worth of work because you could never take your eye off of the virtual audience. You had to make sure that they were getting the same experience as possible as the live and making sure that everything was going smoothly. Usually, I'm just focused on the audience and connecting those members in-house. But so now you've got to connect the chats in the virtual. And it was a fun experience. One that I feel like the feedback that we got, that the virtual audience got just as much when it came to connections because they were connecting with each other while we were breaking and connecting. They were breaking and connecting on the chat as well as in their room. So I think overall, for our first experience, we leave this thinking, we can do this in the future.
Yeah. Because there are people that, for some reason, just can't make it. And it would be nice for them to be able to. Now, at the same time, you want to incentivize people to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we do know that there are people that just cannot or do not want to travel anymore. And I get that completely. It's a small percentage because the true magic of our group is always going to be personal connection. Having said that, if you can't make all 4 meetings and you plan on one being virtual, to give you that option, it's something that we know we can accomplish and do it at a high level.
And I want to just step back just a minute about we had breakout rooms, by the way. After we have a lesson, we want to try to implement that lesson or at least practice that lesson right after it's given. So what we'll do is we'll break out into these little breakout tables and we'll practice what we just learned. And how do you do that virtually and you do that locally as well, which is really kind of cool. Yes. They automatically take, let's say 8 people, move them into a room, and then take 8 more people and move them into a room, all virtually, and they all show up, and it's awesome. It really is. It's really neat.
It was fun. And now I will tell you that the exercise that we did with Chris Voss there for our 3 hours of negotiation training was one of those that it sounded easy on paper, but to pull it off and have separate rooms with our members to accomplish that feat, it was cool. It was done well, but there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes. And the breakouts were fun, because I did a couple of them myself while being in the room, and it's fun because you get in there with people that you maybe haven't had a conversation with in a long time, and you're engaging on that particular subject to get deeper into it. It was fun on both sides.
We're being hassled out here by our friends on the porch. This is why we're doing this live. And by the way, Tom, you're asking where we are. This is beautiful Clearwater, Florida. So,
yes.
And this is the Opal Sands Hotel, and it's right on the edge of the inlet that takes you into the bay. And then you've got the beautiful Gulf of Mexico right behind us, not to mention the pool and the bar.
Beautiful Clearwater Beach, rated usually one of the top 3 beaches in the United States. And again, one of the reasons that it was easy to move here. Outside of the weather today, it's usually pretty nice.
And we were talking about an incentive to come to the meetings.
Yes.
Well, this is one of the incentives.
Yes, especially in December again. We meet usually in Florida in December.
You know, it's funny, and I have to mention this. The plan. We have our meetings quarterly, and one meeting is in San Diego, and one meeting is typically in Tampa. And every year it seemed that the Tampa meeting was right during hurricane season.
That's right.
And then at the same time, every meeting that was in San Diego was during fire season.
Oh.
So we had a great idea to swap it around so we'd have it differently. But then COVID kind of came in and messed that up. And sure enough, as soon as we're flying in, there's a hurricane right off the coast of here. Fortunately, it just got a little rain from it. And
brilliant ideas usually work out, but sometimes you're not expecting a 100-year pandemic. Unfortunately, that messed things up. But the good news is that I know there's a lot of people that have been affected by this hurricane season. It has missed us a couple of times here, and we're getting some of the effects of that right now. This is my meteorologist background we're going into now.
You're a broadcast meteorologist. See, this is how I tell people what the weather is. Look out that way. Now, you can also step out the door and do that.
All right.
So, geez, I forgot what the heck I was going to ask you. Oh, if someone is a top-notch real estate investor in their market, how would they? I know it's a lot of it. Most of this is invitation, but if they don't know anyone that's a current member, how would they get a hold of someone to see if they're a good fit for our group?
It's a great question. So the first thing that they do is they go to our website, thecollectivegenius.com, thecollectivegenius.com. And on that, first and foremost, they're going to learn about us. Before they look at joining or applying, there are a ton of testimonials on there from great members like yourself. And to see if it's a good fit, before you start any of the process, this has to be the right fit for the investor and the community. And that investor has to be able to give something back to this community and not just take. Having said that, if you do feel like you're someone that's a high caliber investor, you do a minimum of 50 transactions a year, or have 50 doors, or been an investor for a very long time, there's an application. It says how CG works. You click on that button on our website, and then you can apply. We are exclusive for territories up to 3 in major metros, and so there's some that are locked out, but we have some open markets that are still available. But I will tell you this. I personally do a consultation with every single applicant that is qualified. And we are first and foremost not selling you on this. This has to be the right fit for you. If it is the right fit, then we can move forward. And your annual membership includes 4 meetings, including a meeting like this. But the process starts with an application and a Zoom call. Let's see if this is the right fit before we move forward. We've been doing Zoom calls way before it was popular, because we want to make sure we have a face-to-face with someone to see, really what their goals are, and if we can help them accomplish those goals. If we can't, we'll part as friends and we'll stay in touch.
Excellent. Well, I know that one of the things that Wendy and I harp on every single broadcast that we do is the importance of being involved in a community of people that are basically the same culture as you, like-minded. Even if it's just your RIA group or a meetup group. But the importance is when you're a small business owner
Yes.
you're by yourself, and you need to be in a community that's going to help you. And I tell you, it has being involved in masterminds has just lifted our game consistently, and it actually has made me a better learner, because I was kind of stagnant for a while, and it really got into me that I needed to have a little better. How do I want to put this? I needed to lift my own game personally, not just business wise. Sure. And being involved in these different mastermind groups has allowed me to continue to learn and continue to be excited about what we do.
We're all human beings, and there are days that it's harder to get up, more so than others. And you're just looking on a daily basis to be inspired to continue to grow. And we've got a community of 150 members now, all across the United States, that some want to scale and grow. Most do. They're A-type personalities, but some of them, they just want to protect, have some cash flow, continue to grow, and exchange money instead of time for money. And so there's a great blend within the group. And in any mastermind or local RIA, you're looking for people that inspire you to continue to grow. Because we were talking about this earlier this week. Someone's grandfather, they said that their grandfather's like 77 years old, and he still goes out and works construction every single day because he believes that when he stops that body in motion and that mind in motion, he'll die. Well, and that's the inspiration I think all of us as human beings sometimes need.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. When people retire, if they don't move on to their next, they do start falling behind health-wise and mentally, I believe. You can only fish and play golf so often.
Yeah, and it's fun, but you need. I think we all need purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beyond, whether that's real estate or whatever you do in your life, find your purpose, because it's the old cliche of you'll never work a day in your life.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I was late.
I'm sorry I had to pull you away from the beach and the cocktail bar, which he was not taking advantage of yet.
Don't be sorry. Well, don't be sorry, because you're pushing me right down to there now.
But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Pull those off and hand those to me, and I'm going to go to a commercial, so to speak. Thank you, Leon. Okay, so Jonathan, if you'll do me a favor and you'll tell folks how they can reach us and do our little commercial, That'd be great. Thank you so much.
No problem. Guys, you can reach us at carolinahardmoney.com. carolinahardmoney.com. You can click on the investor tab if you're interested in investing into our fund. You can click on the borrower tab if you have a project or you want to get a project to fix and flip, a rental, like a fix to rent, new construction, that sort of thing. You can also reach out to us at carolinahardmoney.com if you want to be a one-off investor, someone who wants to buy a whole loan or a part of a loan. We do sell our loans. So if you all want to get in contact with us, you know how. You can also put a comment in the chat box here, whatever you're watching on Facebook. What are the other ones? YouTube. I don't know. There's a handful of them. But send us a comment. Send us your information. We'd be happy to give you a call, discuss your next project or your next investment opportunity. Bill, are you back or are you still out?
Mostly not in.
Mostly not in. Okay. No worries.
Listen, I got Randy Lawrence that popped in to say hello.
Hey, Randy.
How's it going? Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
He came in here and was hassling us out here on the balcony. So.
Exactly. Wendy sent me yesterday over here to hassle Bill. She said, "Hey, he's recording on the poolside, so I got to pop in and give him a hard time and say hello to everybody."
So, all right. So, what'd you get out of the event?
Really,
what was your biggest point?
The biggest point for me, I think, was looking at one of the guys talking on the sales training, Eric, and then the question is, who's my Eric? and so having that person that is helping to elevate the game macro level for the company, because we had a COO person before, it really wasn't the right fit, and we're in the process of hiring another person. So it just really reaffirmed to me that's just such a critical piece for a company. And, and then the other part was Jocko with just the ownership, right? You've got to own it. And so often it is easy for us to, blame a team member. And again, maybe they did drop the ball, but ultimately, did we hand it off correctly?
Right. And then the thing about, if you blame them, they're immediately going to get defensive, right? So instead of blaming them, saying, I'm sorry, that was my fault for not giving you the instruction that you needed to complete the task. And then in 99% of the cases, they're going to step up and say, no, I should have made sure I had the proper information from you.
Yeah,
and then they end up owning it too.
And I've seen that, but you get into the heat of the moment, and you're being like, man, get that crap fixed. You missed that, and that's not really the effective approach. And so, just really staying focused.
Well, you can move that over to Voss, where he makes you change your tones, and then lead the conversation in that direction.
Well, it's funny because we do our team meeting with all of our team members on Monday, and my construction manager who oversees residential and commercial, we had his 3-year review coming up. So we were talking, and that very thing, because I was asking him about, how do you see my posture in that meeting? And he's like, well, no, you seem still, I can tell something's aggressive and it's urgent, but you're very calm. So again, and that's an effective approach for sure, because it's like still people are understanding the urgency or the need to get it done, but it's not maybe as where it's soliciting that defensive response. It's more engaging.
I mean, you still have to be able to portray a sense of urgency, because it is urgent.
Yeah. The funny thing is, so I ran the church before, and that was all volunteers. And so you're engaging volunteers differently than employees. But on the same level, you have to engage the employee in a willing way. So it's been a great event, and getting to see you guys in person. I know we did the Zoom before, but seeing you and Wendy and everybody else is awesome. So
all right, so Randy, real quick before I push you out the door.
Down to the pool, I'm going.
So Randy is involved in multifamily, and I know he has a fund himself. He has several properties that he usually gets fund investors to come in to help finance those. Tell me the name of your business, or tell them the name of your business and how folks can get in touch with you.
Prosperity Capital Partners. Our website is www.pcpre.net, and you can check us out there. Love to connect together with you as well. So,
all right. So I don't want to sell Randy short. He also does other things than just multifamily.
That's true.
He's been doing single family for a long time as well. So
we've been in the real estate space since 2003. So I appreciate you guys, and just love connecting together with all the folks here. And again, you, Wendy, and the entire team, just great people. And so it's always awesome.
Thank you. Your check is in the mail.
There you go. All right, man. Well, hey, I guess my drink is at the bar, so I'm heading down to the pool. Or down there.
Bar.
Okay. So, all right. Hey, everybody, have a great day.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Randy.
Coke Zero.
Would you send my? Oh, but it's out.
Man, Randy's such a good guy.
He is.
Yeah.
By the way, do me a favor, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
Talk about Randy a little bit for a moment.
Yeah. So Randy is, we've been working with him for quite some time. We've known Randy for many, many years now. He is a top-notch multi-family investor and what I like to call a repositioner. He has a unique ability to identify great properties on the multifamily side that are poorly managed or could use upfitting and could be, basically have their cap rate reduced, which increases their value. The lower the cap rate, the higher the value of the multifamily. So that's his whole game, is to go in and maximize the profit of the multifamily unit. And we're involved with him on one project right now. And, even with COVID and everything going on, it's doing great. And I honestly, I think the last I saw, it was ahead of schedule. The blessing in disguise from COVID was it allowed Randy's team to knock out more construction than they normally would have if there wasn't a pandemic, which is, I guess, the blessing in disguise there, but not to take away from the severity of what COVID has done.
And by the way, I was going to mention that I had a conversation with Randy last night, and there's a lot more apartment deals coming up as well. Business does not stop, even if the government says you can't evict folks.
Well, hey, you said that real quick. So did I see something from the CDC being released about no evictions? And I was like,
yes,
CDC?
The Trump administration gave the power to the CDC to I don't know, but he gave the power to the CDC to say you can't evict people for a certain period of time.
It's to the end of the year now, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, if it's constitutional or not, it's another thing. So I'm sure this will be fought in the courts for a little while. Either way, you're not going to be able to evict people until a judge comes in and puts a, what do they call that? Cease and assist or whatever it is.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of people say, "Well, if I can't evict and they're not paying, then I'm not going to pay my mortgage."
I get that. Most people are going to pay. And, So, and I'm not too worried about that. I'm only worried about it if you're over leveraged in your properties.
Yep.
So I have a great guest, Monez. I tried to pronounce this several times, and I'm sorry. Let me try. Kakaria.
That's fine. Kakaria.
Is it correct?
Kakaria. Yes. That's
close
you
enough.
Close.
So Monez is this was her first meeting here at CG. She had a great presentation. Oh, I'm sorry. The camera's over there. I keep looking at the stupid computer. It's my own fault. I'm the one looking down there too. But Monez is out of Dallas. As you can tell by her accent, she's from Texas.
Yeah.
What do you think of your first meeting?
I loved it. It was very interesting. I got to learn a lot. Lots of nice takeaways, nuggets as I call it. And I'm definitely going to continue and be back for more. So right now, all I'll say is a great group of people. I'm hungry to learn and grow my business and take it to the next level.
And some of the things we were talking about is how giving the group is here, because I was just on with Leon, and how the community is always here to give. And now you still have to be able to share, because when you're in a mastermind, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And it's one of the things about the culture here at CG is that we're all trying to give back as much as possible. Right. And if you run out of good stuff to say, you better go study something so you'll have something better next time. So let's talk about your business. You got started in a single family buy and hold.
Right.
And your original goal was what?
4. 4 houses.
How many do you have now?
So I have 71. 3 out of those are commercial deals, actually, and they are paying very well.
Nice.
And I have 1 multifamily, so I feel I'm blessed.
I think you've exceeded your goal.
Yes, my goal keeps changing every couple of years.
Well, that's one of the. Listen, that's all part of life. Things change. You can't set the goal. I mean, you can set the goal up here,
right?
But you can only accomplish it in smaller increments.
Correct.
And we were just talking about that again with Leon. It's how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
That's the only way you can do it. So, how many markets are you in now?
Right now, I'm in 3 markets in the U.S., and I still have my original properties back home in India. So Texas, Indiana, and Florida.
So I want you to hear this again. She still has homes in India that she owns and is renting out. And if you're afraid to get outside of your market, it's not like she can get in the car and go drive and see it. Now, Monez has one flaw in her real estate investing, and that is she gets emotionally attached to her properties.
Yes, I'm working on that. Trust me, I'm working on it. Of come a long way because before, if someone would even come and say, do you want to sell your property? That would make me so mad that I would say, don't ever call me again. And I will sue you if you call me again. So from there to saying, no, I'm not interested right now, or maybe if you offer me double of market price, I think I've come along. And I actually do sell a few now. So, yeah.
That's good. Well, a good investor is always looking at their portfolio and seeing how they can adjust that portfolio so they don't have too much dead equity. I like to say lazy money.
Right.
Because if you have too much equity in one property, you could take that money and, all right, so let's say you sell that property.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can now buy 2 or 3 and double your cash flow.
That's true.
Or you can refinance them and do the same thing.
Right.
And as we all know, rates are really low, and you can get really long terms. You know, the issue is when you own as many properties as you do, you're not going to qualify for the Fannie Freddie type loans. But rates are still extremely low right now. And if you can find a commercial banks, and there are some out there that will still do this, that will allow you a 20-year loan, not one with a balloon or one with a call option. So you can keep those for long term at really low rates. And we talked about this the other day too, about paying, excuse me, our friend Aaron Chapman, who's been on our show quite a few times, talks about this a lot, being able to pay in today's dollars tomorrow and in the future, because we all know that today's dollar is not going to buy as much stuff 10 years from now.
Yes, it's time value of money.
So if you guys can hear the thunder in the background, I'm pretty sure it's not going to come here. This is just the normal sound of clear water. So
or is it the waves crashing on the rocks, maybe?
we can hope so. So what was I going to ask you? I'm so sorry. All right, so quit laughing at me, Jonathan. If you don't have anything nice to say, keep it to yourself.
Bill, no one could have anything to say. You don't take a breath. Even when you don't remember what you want to say, no one can get a comment in because you're talking about what you forgot.
By the way, Monez, meet Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm glad I get to see you.
So
yeah. I know
that
Bill
picture,
and Wendy were excited to meet you.
Jonathan is on this back porch with his little fireplace behind him. It's 68 degrees and raining. But he still decided to take it outside.
Well, I thought, Bill, if you were going to be poolside, I was going to be fireside. Like we,
Is the fireplace on?
It's a wood. It's a wood one. So yeah, I've got some logs in there burning.
Awesome.
You can't see because they have his name in front of it. No, there it is.
There you go.
There, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, now you're going to have to clean it out. I'm always thinking ahead. That's right. They're not old enough yet.
Oh, they learn young. Come on now. You got to put them to work.
All right. So about your cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
What is your goal for cash flow typically when you're buying a property that is going to have leverage on it?
Okay. So my minimum cash flow that I want from the property, I do the BRRRR method. So I buy it with hard money and then I put whatever I need to put down. And my goal is to try and refinance it in 3 to 6 months as quickly as possible. And once I refinance it, my goal is to make minimum $400 per door. I make more than that, but if it makes less than $400, I don't buy it.
That's pretty interesting. There's a lot of markets where the goal is $200.
I know, but at $200, so I have a system that I've developed where I have red, yellow, and green. So all my green properties are the ones that are making more than $400. So I'm good.
Good reason to have them green.
Yeah.
Green for go.
So I like it. I love those properties. They're there. Then anything between 200 and 400 goes into the yellow zone, and anything that's making less than $200 a door goes into the red zone, and those are the ones that I have to sell.
That makes sense.
So once they are red, I have to figure out how I can make it yellow, if I can, by raising the rents or reducing costs.
Sure.
And if I cannot, then in 6 months, I have to sell those properties.
That's a good system. Now, do you have any that are red now?
Yes,
Well, now's a great time to sell them because the prices are up,
correct.
right?
Correct.
What markets are those in? Do you know?
There's
Are
one
they
in
just-
Miami, which is my retirement house. So I know it's red, but again, there's an emotional attachment to it. We bought it because we found it really cheap. We don't know when we're going to retire, but eventually we'll retire. So even when I bought it, I knew it would be in the red, and I'm fine with it being in the red. Because going in, I knew that we would have to pay something out of our pocket. The rent would not cover it because it's a super expensive house.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And then the second house that's red is one that I bought for my daughter to go to college right by SMU, which is in Highland Park, which is one of the most prestigious areas of Dallas. And again, I knew it's going to be red.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
those are my red houses. And next year I'll be selling it because she'll be graduating and then I won't need it anymore.
Well, I can say the one in Miami. If you look at trends in history, the Miami Fort Lauderdale market does a lot of this.
Yeah.
So if you can sell it now while everyone's moving from New York,
Oh, yes.
you can buy it back here fairly.
I
fairly
actually thought about it because I've been talking to my real estate agent. Last week, we actually had this conversation. Should I just sell it now and buy something else in 2 years or 3 years, or when I'm actually ready to move? And maybe we'll actually do that.
That I just know from history that's not a bad play. The chances are it's going to go down and then come back up again.
Right. You're right about that.
Listen, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
It was wonderful meeting you this weekend. I look forward to having you come back again. Well, I say this weekend. We did it at the beginning of the week. It's not the weekend yet.
It feels like the weekend for us, right?
But I know you got a flight that you need to catch, and I appreciate you taking the time to come up here.
Thank you.
In this terrible wind.
Have a great day, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Jonathan, you want to talk about us again for a few seconds?
I would love to.
Thank you.
So, guys, you can reach us at carolinahardmoney.com, Carolina Hard Money. And if you are wanting passive return in an investment vehicle like a fund, you can click on the investor tab. If you are a borrower and you want to acquire funding for a fix and flip, a rental, new construction, multifamily, whatever it may be, click on the borrower tab. We are looking for new relationships on the borrowers and new relationships on the investors. We're happy to talk with you guys and answer your questions. I would recommend if you want to send questions about the fund and investing, send them to Bill, BILL, at carolinahardmoney.com. And if you have questions on borrowing money, I would send it to Wendy, WENDY, at carolinahardmoney.com. They can get you your questions answered real quick. You can also email me, Jonathan, JONATHAN, at carolinahardmoney.com, and I'd be happy to answer questions on either or. I'll kind of playing both spots here, so I can answer the questions on the investors or on the borrowing side. And then Wendy just sent in a comment. Let's see. Can I talk about some of the commercial loans that we're considering? Yeah, I'd love to. We are actually looking at 2 development deals right now. One in Augusta, Georgia, and then another one in Monroe, North Carolina. They're both townhome new construction, and the one in Augusta we're looking at doing. It's basically infrastructure and the construction side. So not only are we doing all the horizontal, so roads, curbs, stormwater, electric, plumbing, sewer, all that good stuff. We're also doing the vertical construction on the townhomes in Augusta, and I love that market right now is really hot. especially the price point that we're looking at for these properties, which is going to be between the 125 to 145 price range, which is just perfect. And then in Monroe, we're looking at just the infrastructure. So all of the items that I mentioned, stormwater, sewer, electric, curbs, gutters, all that stuff, putting that in. And then the vertical would be actually a large national builder who would be doing the vertical and not us. So we're only in it on the horizontal side. Both of those markets are great.
We're back. But you can finish your.
Well, and Wendy's asking great questions. I love it. What kind of person would qualify for a loan like that? Experience. You need a lot of experience to do a development loan. I mean, you're talking about a term time of 12 to 24 months, somewhere in there, to get that in, and you have to manage a plethora of sub workers and work with the city, the county. There's a lot of nuances and very granular things that have to be done in development, and it is not for a new person. If this is your first time, then we're not for you. There might be someone else out there that would do that. I would recommend partnering with somebody. But experience and liquidity. I mean, the ones that we're doing right now, I mean, I think each borrower has over 20 years experience. I think one of them actually has 40 years of experience. But that's what we're looking for. Someone who knows what they're doing, and we're looking for a good market. I mean, this doesn't work in downtown Charlotte. This works in Monroe, North Carolina, which is, an outskirts of Charlotte, which you can still build at a reasonable price. Same thing for Augusta. So there's a lot of different things that we look at, but experience on the borrower side is number one.
And those homes are going to all be in the affordable market as well. But we need a bell or a buzzer, because that's the second time I've heard plethora being used in our broadcast today.
Who used it before?
I'm not sure.
I was having a hard time with my tongue saying it the first time. We are pleased to have Jim Shields on as a guest. He's an awesome guy. He wrote a great book, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Jim is in the build to rent market. Now, Monez was just on. She is a buy and hold person. Jim just says, the hell with it. I'm not looking for properties. I'm just going to build them myself and then put renters in there. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, Jim.
Good to be here, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Are you building subdivisions? Or are you doing infill with
we're doing a mixture of both. We'll do some infill and then some the develop. Obviously, to get a full development approved takes longer. So we'll tag team both, some infill lots and then some smaller developments as well. What we like to do is to grab on to the big builders. They like to jump to the next thing. So sometimes they'll have built a neighborhood and there'll be 30 lots left, and they'll just want to move on, and we'll grab those. So it's already an existing neighborhood. We'll just grab the remainders. But we do anything from spot to something like that to a whole development. So it's a little bit of a mixture.
Well, I tell you, I think the benefit of having a piece of a subdivision is that you have a bunch of homeowners in there already. And I think that tends to help the neighborhoods appreciate value. Because, listen, people have an attitude when they own their own home, and they take a little bit better care of it when it's not theirs.
Yeah.
That said, there's plenty of renters out there that still have pride in ownership, even though it isn't ownership. Just depends on the price point that you're in. If they have a family, they still want to be in a nice place too. I mean, that's why Class A apartments have done so well.
Yeah, agree.
Right?
Agree, totally.
And I think, this is just my own opinion, but since what we've had in the bigger cities and the people just starting to move on a nice home, whether they're renting or they're owning, and I think this is going to benefit you greatly.
Yeah.
So what markets are you in?
So we started in Jacksonville, and then we expanded out to other markets. I've always been taught, a mentor of mine 22 years ago said, you want to look, if I always wanted to go into growth areas. And coincidentally, without knowing COVID, it was always more low density areas. I wasn't in the bigger, fancier, non-cash flowing markets. I started in Bakersfield, California, which was a sprawl. Johnny Carson used to make fun of it.
Right.
But it is an area that had population growth, economic growth, affordability, desirability, healthy supply and demand. And those 5 things is what I look for. And that's why I went to Jacksonville 16 years ago, started there. And just like you were saying, I like to build A, properties and B, neighborhoods. So we're not going to the highest end with the biggest amenities, but solid areas, and they're brand new construction. So I consider them A. And we started in Jacksonville. We still build in Jacksonville. But we didn't want to get pushed into marginal areas for building. Because even if you build a new house, we go to a marginal area, I think it's tougher.
Right.
So we started to expand out to Ocala, out to Palm Coast, down to Southwest Florida, about 5 different markets down there, and even to Southwest Atlanta, because we want those fundamentals, and we don't want to put too much pressure on one market.
Excellent. So, what's your favorite market, or do you have one?
Yeah, that would be tough to say. I like them all because they all have those factors. I think Ocala was a surprise market. Yeah. When my building partner first said, 5 years ago, hey, we should go out to Ocala. I said, Ocala, isn't there only like 10,000 people out there? And he's like, no. And sure enough, yeah, Marion County has like 400,000 people. There was lots of great growth. It's a low density, simple community feel, and the numbers, not only the rent returns, but the values have gone up really nicely. So that's just one surprise market, but all of our Florida markets, I really enjoy.
Right. So part of, we've been talking about Jocko Willink's presentation on Tuesday, and you actually got to ask him a question, and it had to do with surfing.
Yeah, I wanted to know. See, I'm a surfer you look at Jocko and he's ready to rip your head off. But I knew he was a good surfer. I knew it because just listening to different things. And I wanted to know, what did Navy SEAL training do for your surfing? I thought, and his answer was no. What did my surfing do for my Navy SEAL training? So that was pretty cool. And then I got to talk to him. I'm sure, you and I have had some good chats. And anyone who's just saying, I'm throwing in the towel for the next 2 months because politics is just too much. And Jocko had some strong words on that, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've read his book, his kids' book, with my sons and with my youngest daughter.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing because I read his first book, and I didn't really pay much attention to anything else that he had written, and then I pulled up Amazon. All of a sudden, I see all these children's books. I'm going, man, I wish I would have asked him what was his motivation behind writing children's books after the basically the self-improvement books that he's doing now and the leadership books.
Yeah.
But by the time I thought of that, the line was too long and he didn't have much time. All right. So what I thought was pretty interesting is the temperature of the water when you're surfing. Now, you were in California growing up surfing. The water out there in the Pacific is cold.
It's cold, but it's not cold, Maine cold. So I didn't know he was from Maine. So those boys are crazy.
Jocko Willink grew up surfing in Maine, and obviously it was kind of a short window of the surfing.
Well, I know those boys just go in the winter there, and he's got that stone like look of just serious. I'm like, well, that's why he surfed Maine all those years. That's a tough surfing spot up there.
He's the guy that you're going to be in fear of coming up out of the water slowly with the makeup on, the camouflage makeup.
I wouldn't want to piss Jocko off in the surf. That's
all right.
Sure.
So
the other time.
Let's talk about your book.
Yeah.
I think this is very important because people get really involved in their business. They don't have time for their family, and there's only so much time to spend with them. What's the name of your book, and why did you write it?
I wrote the family board meeting because I saw, first of all, we usually write for what we need. And I wanted to make sure it scared the hell out of me, Bill, coming into real estate early, having some success and getting invited to big events and seeing behind the curtain of some people that I really looked up to who, their balance sheet was huge, but their family life was in shambles. Yeah. And I said, I don't want that to be me. So I always tried to make it a point that I was going to be successful in business and successful with family. That was it. And that was my motivation. And 10 years ago, the catalyst, I guess, for me writing this book was, it was a big time in my life. I was, bringing back my real estate company from near extinction from the 2008 meltdown. I was adopting my 2 oldest sons, and I had just been approved donate a kidney to my father. So there was just a lot of things coming. And I've never looked at family life the same way. You know, that's why I'm half dressed in this, where it's just coming back from flow riding with the family. And, and I just think it's important that there's some teaching out there that says, put your head down, go at it for the next 5 to 10 years. You get back to family, they'll understand. And that's bullshit. That's the worst advice you can ever get. There are things you can set in place to enjoy your family along the way. And that's what my simple book is about. It's some simple strategies and principles where you can enjoy your family along the way and not feel like a stranger. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, when I get behind the curtain, I've worked with a lot of them, as you know, they almost feel like they're a part-time disciplinarian or just an ATM machine. They don't really have a connection to their family. They don't feel like they're close to them. And man, that's tragic. And I don't want to see that happen, and it doesn't have to happen.
Not to mention that kids grow up a lot faster than you think. It goes by like that. And you need to be around during their formidable years as well.
Yes. So, and if you are, then they'll want to be with you afterwards. You know, the name of my parent education company, my family education company, is 18 Summers. Because a mentor of mine is the one who taught me, and he said over 80% of the time that most people will ever spend with their children is in those first 18 summers.
Right.
And then it starts to delineate because of, you know, they're moving away and that. So make the most of those years. And if you do, then you've probably bought yourself more time with them in the future, but you will never regret that time. And the years are not all created equal. So, you know, with me, I adopted my 2 oldest sons at 7 and 5.
Right.
And when I heard that in my head, I was like, wait a minute, I only have 11 summers left. It just seems, it really puts a positive motivation on the time that you got in front of you.
Excellent. So how can people find out about 18 Summers?
Yeah, just go to 18summers.com. We're on Instagram at 18 Summers Tribe. You'll get to see some of our family videos, just some simple, powerful techniques. And again, I think people are attracted to us because our big saying is there is no perfect family. It's not about perfection. It's about bridging imperfection, making the most of the time we have, and going from there. So they can look us up on 18summers.com.
All right. Now, if people want to get a hold of you about what it is you do in business, how do they do that?
Yeah, they can go to Jack's Wealth Investments, learn about us. Our specialty is, again, in growing, building investment property in high growth areas. Like I just explained, we're always looking for that economic growth, population growth, affordability, desirability, and healthy supply and demand. And then we build single family, duplexes, and quads. So we're sticking to low density. We do a little bit of a combination of that depending on what people are looking for. And they can get in touch with us. You met Jennifer. She's been with me 11 years, our director of sales and our building partner. We have, you know, I'm very proud. We've probably built one of the most dynamic build-to-rent companies in the nation now. And we were doing build-to-rent before that term build-to-rent even was around. So kind of proud of that.
And I'm assuming you're looking for accredited investors. Do you have a fund?
We have a fund where we have people that fall on both sides. We have some people that want to put money into the fund for the, you know, get a nice preferred return up front for the acquisition of the land, the development of the land, that process. And then people want to own a few end properties. So accredited investors, obviously, for the fund, and then just, you know, paper people for the most part who are, you know, we work with a lot of professionals, busy professionals, business owners who are wanting to add a few, you know, high quality properties to the
So portfolio. Are you selling any of these turnkey as well, or are you selling any?
I'm selling. I keep turnkeys for myself and on my own. But we work with investors nationwide, actually international now, to sell. So we're a turnkey provider for new construction.
Okay, excellent. I'm sorry I didn't realize that off the bat. But
I have my own
portfolio.
I have my own portfolio. But yeah, that our main thing was I did a ton of foreclosures, renovations, and built my portfolio. That helped other people build portfolio. And, you know, and 5 years ago when all those numbers started to change and it was getting really skinny down in Jacksonville, it was that old dog learning a new trick. And my building partner and friend said, I think we should start building our own. And that was literally how it started to come to fruition.
It's amazing sometimes how easy the idea just pops into your head. Why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
I appreciate you having Jonathan, if you'll do me a favor and you'll come back on and keep our audience entertained while I go find Chris.
Take care, guys.
Go find Chris. Yeah, go find Chris. All right, guys. Again, if you're just now listening, you can reach us at carolinahardmoney.com. You can click the investor tab if you would like to passively invest into our fund. And then also you can click the borrower tab if you are looking for funding for one of your projects, whether it's a fix and flip, new construction, fixed to rent, multifamily, storage units, warehouse. We cover a wide gambit of different investing types on properties, and we'd be happy to discuss with you what your project is and if we can help. Let's see, we have, what is one of your recent projects? And we actually have quite a few. We have most of our recent projects are fix and flips. We've actually been doing a lot in the Somerville area, which is just I guess would be northwest of Charleston. We've been doing a lot of fix and flips there. I'm trying to think. The last commercial we did was, I believe. Oh, yeah, we did one in Wilmington, and I think that one's going to be a great one. We closed it last month, and the whole it's kind of like that. I guess more or less WeWork kind of program, or I guess mentality behind this. So they're taking a 90,000 square foot warehouse, and they're dividing it and selling, between 500 and 10,000 square feet to different tenants. People who maybe want an office, that are tired of working from home, who want a place to go to and work, storage for a construction company, storage for just different types of company if they're looking for storage. So it's kind of parsed out like that. And I mean, probably looking to have 20 to 30 tenants in there and stuff like that. We love multi-tenanted, non-owner occupied commercial. So if you have a project that is multi-tenanted, non-owner occupied, we would love to take a look at it with you. That's something that we, let's see. Wendy.
I'm back.
Well, hold on. I want to get to this one. Wendy says, talk about a mistake, but none of mine.
Wendy doesn't make mistakes. Are you kidding me?
Well, the thing is, we are, in a perpetual state of making mistakes. I mean, and I say that because we are in an industry that is constantly changing, and most industries are. I mean, few stay stagnant. When they go stagnant, they usually die. So we are in a state of constantly changing, and change causes mistakes, and mistakes cause growth, and growth causes character, and character causes us to be better and to provide a better service to our investors and our borrowers. So yeah, we make a lot of mistakes, but we learn and grow from them.
Okay, so don't you want to invest with us now?
Well,
all right. So that said, I did hear a good point in CG yesterday, as a matter of fact, that wisdom comes from learning from others' mistakes, not you. You end up getting aged by making your own mistakes, or maybe that wasn't CG. Maybe that was Freedom Founders. I can't tell. We're in the middle of two masterminds at the same time. So yeah. I'm pleased to have Chris Miles with us. A lot of you guys have already seen him on our show. He's been on there a couple of times. He is the anti-financial planner. One of the things I love about his business model is that he uses the infinite banking system to grow wealth tax-free, and at the same time you can utilize that system to borrow money for two reasons. One, for investment purposes, but the cheapest way to borrow money for crap you want, not stuff that makes you money. So if you are going to put yourself in debt, like Dave Ramsey says not to, never go into debt for something that you want. You only go into debt for stuff that makes you money. At least if you do it this way, it'll be the cheapest way to do it, right? Because you're actually paying yourself the interest.
That's right.
So it works out great. So Chris is here, obviously, at CG. So what did you get out of the? What was your big takeaway from CG meeting this time?
You know, I think the biggest takeaway is always what you get after you're done with it, right?
Yeah.
You know, look.
So this show.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. You know, I will tell you, like the thing that like you said, we're in 2 masterminds at the same week together, right? You know, I'll tell you when I was talking to a real estate investor just today, and she was talking about how she got invited to be on Bigger Pockets to talk. She's like, I don't know anything. What do I know? Like, why are they having me on? Just because I'm a woman or what? You know, she was trying to figure out why they would even want her on. And I tried to tell her, I said, listen, like where you are right now is ahead of where almost everybody is listening to that show. You're ahead of the step, and people love people that are on that journey, right? People resonate at different levels. And there's the same thing with masterminds, right? Like I just got out of another mastermind that I just did not resonate with. I felt like I wasn't getting that value. Like I should feel elevated. And I don't do masterminds just for the social stuff, right? Because like the social stuff is great, but there's got to be that justification, like something that elevates you somehow.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I get from masterminds. Like, be able to associate with other people that are like-minded, or even people that aren't like-minded. Maybe they're at a different level. Maybe they're a level higher, and that pulls you up with them, right? It allows you to come on up, and naturally, when I come home, like I always become a different person. I always become a better person when I leave a good mastermind group, right? And I think that's the key: is that when you're whether you're watching this, right, you're watching these Facebook Lives, or you're watching your show, or whatever it might be, you're trying to get in the head of these investors. You want to learn from these people. You want to know how they think, because that is how you elevate yourself to a whole nother level of wealth. And it cannot happen staying stuck, listening to the same old crap that you hear all the time, listening to your Dave Ramsey's and your Susie Ormans and whoever else, your brother-in-law that happens to be also a financial advisor on the side, right? Like, that just does not work. Like, you gotta be with people that actually been there, done that, and are doing it today. And so that's my main takeaway from this event.
Well, there is a place for the Dave Ramseys and the Susie Ormans, but they really are for the masses. The people don't have an interest in their own investing. What they're trying to do is keep them from going into such a consumer debt that by the time they are ready to retire, they have nothing but Social Security, and that's not going to. They're not going to have any savings. But the person that is the investor type, debt can be a good thing. You just need to make sure that you're, number one, not over leveraged in any particular asset. But let's face it, if you can get 3.5%, 4.5%, 5% interest rates on a buy and hold piece of property for a 30-year fixed, are the rents going to go down over that 30 years? No. Is the dollar that you're paying it with each month going to buy more each month? No. It's going to buy less, so you might as well pay for it with the same dollar 10 years from now.
That's right.
But too many people are undisciplined, and they will just put stuff on credit that, again, stuff that they want, not stuff that they is going to become an asset. And I think Aaron Chapman talks about that a lot. It's not debt. You've created an asset when you're leveraging it. So
and I think that's kind of ties in with what we just said, right? Like, everybody has a different level. You know, if you're like, think of a college, right? You remember, like, they had like the remedial math is like 95R or whatever it was, right? It was like pre-algebra type math, right? Like, everybody has a different level they have to be at. You know, Dave Ramsey is like pre-algebra. Like, he's like, even if you're in your college, you shouldn't have graduated high school, but here you are. We're going to give you something, right? And that's what he helps you do. He gets you to that next level. But if you want to become something more, something than just not in debt, right? If you want to be somebody prosperous, you've got to follow those that are prosperous, you know?
Absolutely. Talk to me, give me the 30,000 foot view of the infinite banking for those who have not heard about it.
Yeah. So really what it is we're using things like whole life insurance, right? And that's taboo in the Dave Ramsey world, and it should be, because the way that most people use it is not good.
Yeah, it's for insurance. And there's little savings at the end.
Exactly. You have to wait decades. And that's the whole financial advising model, is wait decades before you finally have something. Hopefully you have something, and it may not be enough. What we do here is different. Like, what we're trying to do is get a max ROI policy where we actually lower the cost, maximize the tax-free savings inside of it. So instead of using a typical savings account that you would use at the bank, right? And you go and you take that money and invest it to earn returns, and you try to cycle those returns back in. What we're doing is saying, hey, instead of using this 0.0%, taxable savings account that you have with your bank, why not use something that's going to pay us 4+% a year, tax-free? And the cool thing is that you can't do the savings account necessarily as easily, is you can borrow from the insurance company, use that money, even though you got your money still here, go invest that money into like your deals, for example, right? The returns you pay back to the clients pays back into the policy, and it cycles through so they can build it up and invest it again. And what happens is that you now earn an extra 3-4+% return on top of the returns you're getting paid on this investment. Which in most cases for people I run numbers for, they gotta produce at least, they gotta create a savings account with a bank that pays them at least 6 or 7% a year to match this. Right. Because of that tax-free nature and everything else. So it's basically just replacing the savings account to create this supercharged tax-free savings account to go and invest and double dip on your money.
Not to mention, it's a good asset protection vehicle as well.
Right. Protected from lawsuits and creditors and all that kind of stuff, right?
It's little known, but someone can actually sue you and get money out of your IRA.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but they can do it. But
right.
They can't get it out of your life insurance policy. Ever.
Right.
So it is the best form of asset protection. I hate to cut this short. I really appreciate you being on here. But we've gone past our 2 o'clock. We are now at 2:01. That doesn't mean they're shutting us off, but we have to shut down or they will. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. But
it's a pleasure.
We keep having him on because he's such a great guest. We're going to get more time. Oh, sorry, your camera is up there. We're going to have him on again when he can spend a little bit more time with us. By the way, give people your contact info if somebody wants to know more about this stuff.
Yeah, you can go to moneyripples.com. I know they just put it up on the screen there earlier. So moneyripples.com is one place you can go. You can also check out my podcast, The Chris Miles Money Show, which I teach a lot of this kind of stuff on too.
Excellent. And because Scott in the background is so quick, he already has all your info.
Scott knows me well.
I know. So, by the way, our man behind the curtain that you're not supposed to see is also his man behind the curtain that is not supposed to see.
We're not a real wizard.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. I know it was a little touch and go here being outside, wondering if a tornado was going to show up. It does look kind of rough back there in the back. It looks like we got some weather coming, so it looks like we're finishing just in time.
I think they're called water spouts on it, Bill, not tornadoes.
There'll be a tornado as soon as they hit the beach.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's okay. We have a pool that's in a low-lying area, and hopefully I won't get sucked out of it. All right, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want any information on us for CarolinaHardMoney.com. If you're looking to borrow, click on the Borrower tab. If you're looking for passive returns through investments with us, click on the Investment tab. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week without the wind blowing so hard. Take care.